ARMIS? So ARMIS was founded 6 years ago, and we were founded under the premise that any device that communicates, wired or wireless, has a risk posture to it. It's a cyber asset that needs to be protected. So that's how we approach this issue. And where we find ourselves today is a really interesting place based upon the question I heard from Shane, based upon the question from Tim, and I didn't catch the Baker Hughes, I didn't catch your name. Michelle. So fundamentally, we all pretty much, as we heard in these couple of questions, suffer from the one fundamental problem, the foundational problem, which is device discovery. If I don't know what the device is, I can't protect it. I've got a gap, right? I've got a hole that I can't fill because it's a shadow device. Now, when we talk about shadow devices, at least when ARMIS talks about shadow devices, we talk about shadow devices from the concept of it may be Purdue 0, it may be per PLC at Purdue 1. Shane, you mentioned you wanted to find PLCs. PLCs live in Purdue level 1. You want to understand what the firmware is, the firmware on the modules plugged up in those slots, right? Because there's vulnerabilities there, right? So we need to fundamentally understand and discover all of the genetics about what those devices are. We like to take it outside of OT, right? Because where do threats come from? Yeah, there are insider threats. Somebody may take a laptop into an environment, plug it into a MOXA switch, plug it into an industrial switch, and introduce a vulnerability, or maybe it's even an insider threat. But for the most part, especially when we see nation state, right? Where does nation state come from? It comes from outside of the enterprise, and it's got to find its way into the enterprise somehow. So our solution is one of any device that communicates wired or wireless anywhere in the infrastructure, OT, IoT, building management, building automation, badge readers, card swipes, elevators, escalators, printers. It does not matter where it resides in the infrastructure, because each one of those devices has an attack surface. And as we place more and more devices out into our enterprises, right, whether we're a utility, whether we're a pipeline, whether we are critical manufacturing, right? Abbott, our utilities at TECO, right? Our attack surface is seemingly doubling because of all these devices every year. So that's what ARMIS does. We discover all of these devices. What do we do with it? And you had mentioned cloud as well, right? So ARMIS is fundamentally a cloud-centric company. We've got this huge knowledge base that resides up in Amazon, and we manage currently 2 billion plus devices daily for our customers. Now, why is that interesting? Why is that important? Why is that different from some of the other traditional OT-centric products on the market? It means every time somebody plugs in to ARMIS, they are inheriting our knowledge of the gold standard of every Rockwell device, the gold standard of every HMI, the gold standard of what these devices do. Card readers, badge swipes, Schneider devices, Schweitzer devices, right? The Modicon devices. We understand how those devices communicate, what they communicate to. We understand the ports and protocols that they use. We understand IP cameras talk to DVRs. They shouldn't be on Weibo in China, right? Which we see this all the time. We see drones flying down utility transmission lines, live streaming on Facebook. It's amazing what is seen in these networks when you take a holistic view of any device that communicates wired or wirelessly. That fundamentally is what ARMIS does. Then we then take that information and we ingest signal from other parts of the enterprise. We ingest signal from Active Directory. We ingest signal from vCenter. We ingest signal from CrowdStrike, Carbon Black, SentinelOne. There's hundreds and hundreds of places where we ingest signal. And when you ingest signal, what you've got is a really great contextual understanding of what that device is, above and beyond what is simply put on span, right? So with that information, our argument is you make better decisions, right? You've got more data about the genetics of the device, its activities, who it is, who it's communicating to, the transaction map, and you've got a better understanding of how you should create policy, because you've got more signal coming in to inform us of what the device is. And with that policy, we then trigger existing infrastructure right? The SIMs, the SOARs, the NACs, the firewalls. All of those existing security stack products that are already in the environment, we orchestrate the protection of the environment. That is how we help our clients. We help them reduce noise. We help elevate actionable items that need action taken against them. We help to suppress noise where, you know, maybe there's a critical infrastructure, but you know what? Inside of that PLC segment, it's air-gapped where there's really tight controls of the ACLs, and it's really not a threat, even though it's got critical infrastructures. All right, so come and see us at our booth. We can offer full fingerprinting of devices and show you the device map of your of what your enterprise would look like with an ARMIS deployment.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.